Hi, my name is Jody, and I am an alcoholic. I'm calling from Altoona, Pennsylvania. I want to tell you a little bit about a spiritual experience I had. And like a lot of people in AA, my journey took me to prison. And there I was going before a board who was going to tell me if I was able to go to a drug and alcohol program or not. And I, of course, was hoping to get this so that it would cut my time in half. Had no regards of whether or not I wanted to get well or not get well. So I had to do these classes, and I was in a class, and, we were all sitting there talking, and I was explaining to the girls how I got a raw deal and how there had been an undercover officer in my house when I got arrested, and that's why I got all the felonies I got, and I wouldn't have gotten in so much trouble if I weren't set up, and how everything wasn't my fault. And one of the girls in that class with me looked at me and she said, most people don't end up in prison with 41 felonies unless you have a problem. And it really took me aback, and I just sat there for a moment thinking. And it was the first time in my life I had thought of it that way. I had no other feelings behind that until I left that meeting that day and made it back to my cell. And therein, locked behind that cell door, that metal with the little sliver of window, and I was looking out amongst all the people, I just knew everything was going to be okay. I had no doubt that I was exactly where I was supposed to be and that everything was meant to be. I wasn't sure what was happening, and I just remember having that self-talk in my cell where, I just thought, maybe I'll just stop fighting all this and give this thing a try and see maybe if life can be a little simpler, because I was already feeling a little bit better. And I made that conscious decision to just stop fighting everything and everybody. And, I'll never forget that day, feeling more free than I had ever felt. And although I was locked behind the prison walls, I had never felt more free. And doors began to open for me, one little thing at a time. I had to go to be resentenced so that I could qualify for the drug and alcohol program. That worked out okay. I started to meet girls who were doing the next right thing and talking about meetings and AA and how that had helped them before, because I had never really made an effort to learn anything about Alcoholics Anonymous. And so I started to listen to these girls, and we started to have little meetings amongst ourselves, and we started to do some reading from the big book, and that lasted for quite a while. For the next year, that was my life, and I got to know a little bit more about the program and its inner workings, and I didn't get the chance to work the program as it was intended. But when I got out of prison, I started to furlough home, and the first thing I did was go to an AA meeting because I was so afraid of going back to prison. I wanted things to be different, but I still wasn't sure. I still had these doubts. But the one thing is that I had a desire to not go back to prison. So I did what I was told, and I got a sponsor. I got a home group. I got my paper signed, and I gave it to my parole officer. That was the greatest thing I've ever done in my life, because I got a sponsor who works the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. She took me by the hand, just like the big book says. She took me by the hand, and she walked me through the big book. We got to step 1, and I can remember those feelings from when I was in prison and when I stopped that fight and how free I felt. And it came to me how I had slightly taken part 1 in prison, and I didn't know it. But when she had me write down what happened when I drank, and I had to take a look at the fact that I lost sense of all morality, that I was capable of breaking any rule, that I hurt people who love me. I would run people over if you got in my way. All I cared about was myself and getting my needs met. I had physical health problems. I had lost my home. My bills were out of control, let alone the thought of a higher power in my life. It was non-existent. And when I was able to put those things down on paper and take a look at it, I could truly surrender to this program, to my disease, and realize, yeah, alcohol was definitely my master. What else could take me down that path? I couldn't think of a thing. And that was the beginning of my journey. And today, my sobriety date is October 22nd, 2010, and I haven't found it necessary to pick up a drink. I am so grateful to this program. Today, I sponsor girls, and I encourage them to sponsor girls. My sponsor has a sponsor who works this program. I also have I picked up a district position. I've had one for the last 3 years. I get myself in the middle of AA, and I try to do as much as I can for Alcoholics Anonymous because it gave me back my life. And for that, I am truly grateful. Thank you.